This is Daily Blast Live. We're talking about what you're talking about.
You all ready for this?
This is a sham.
No.
Nope.
Y'all, just stop.
Get real.
Welcome to DBL. It's Friday, and I got my ladies.
We made it.
Yes. Everyone looking good. Everyone looks fabulous.
I got my PJs on.
Do you feel comfortable?
Absolutely.
Everyone looks so polished, and I look like I'm gonna milk a cow. All right, here we go.
What are you talking about?
All right. Elon Musk, if you didn't know, is now the proud owner of Twitter. Last night, he closed the $44 billion deal to buy the social media site, changing his Twitter headline to read, Chief Twit, saying the bird is freed. And then this morning he tweeted, let the good times roll. Now, one of his first moves was to reportedly fire a bunch of top executives at the site, including the woman responsible for banning former President Trump. He also tweeted this message to advertisers on the site, telling them Twitter cannot become a free-for-all hellscape, and said the platform must be warm and welcoming to all. So here's the question. How does someone like Musk, who calls himself a free speech absolutist, make Twitter warm and welcoming to all? Those things seem maybe contradictory. I do want to give you breaking news. He did just open up Kanye West's Twitter account. It is now open. Kanye has yet to tweet. But just so you see where things are sort of moving. Thoughts on Dr. Evil taking over Twitter? I'm just kidding.
Dr. Evil. I think I'm going to go down a Cobb conspiracy theory based on absolutely nothing.
Oh, wow.
Just
hit us.
The thoughts in my head. I'm wondering if this is spelling the end of Twitter. And the reason why is because to open it up in this way means that advertisers are going to have to be so careful about how they're advertising in this space and if they're going to advertise in this space. What we've seen over the past few years, especially during cancel culture, has been advertisers taking a stand against, ideology and people who don't jive with their moral code.
Right.
Now, that being said, I also question the reason why Twitter forced Elon to go with his word of purchasing the platform. When any company is being acquired, there tends to be a reason why the original company or the original owners are ready to part ways with it. And yes, it's financial, but also there tends to be some type of strategy behind it. So I'm wondering if Twitter is, like, the people who are selling it see the writing on the wall for the platform.
That's interesting that it's the doomed Twitter. What do you think?
I don't think Twitter can get much worse than it is now. I mean, when I go,
a lot of people
my
are
friends and I were
clapping.
talking about that.
Yep.
We were like, Twitter is just this place where everybody just is talking trash all day. Like, and I remember we used to go on there and it used to be fun and like we used to joke with each other and like it still is that sometimes. But like you can post. There was a story that went viral this week. A woman posted like something positive about having a morning coffee with her husband every day in her yard, and people were like, "Oh, the luxury." She's like, "Whoa!" And it was like 1 million responses in that vein.
Hey.
And so if he's gonna make it somewhere good, I'm excited to see what he possibly can do with the dumpster fire that it is now, because I'm excited to see something else happen. I don't know that adding Kanye West back is going to make a huge change. He was already back on Instagram yesterday, so like I don't know how worse social media can get. Let's see what he does. I'm not going to just say it's going to go terribly.
I'm sort of in the middle here, and I kind of loved hearing both of your points of view. So just so you guys know, Elon Musk, the ads count for 90% of the financial incentive for all of Twitter. So if they get rid of advertisers or they say we're not going to go on, you're losing an enormous financial gain, which they're already in some financial trouble. But here's what he's maybe conspiring to do. A curate, choose your own adventure Twitter. So if you want to click free speech, you could get a Twitter with everything. But if you want like family friendly or not free speech, you click that and it's curated for you. Is that more of an echo chamber that we're just seeing the same thing over and over again? Or is that a good change for Twitter, where you have some control over how much you're seeing?
Twitter already is an echo chamber. I mean, all social media truly is. It's just feeding you back what you're putting out.
Right.
I mean, the algorithms and everything are designed for that. I think if that were the case, that might make a lot of sense to some people, but it's also incredibly dangerous.
Yeah.
Because now you're in a silo,
right,
being fed and believing that everything that you're saying is the gospel. And when you're talking about people who have nefarious reasons for doing that,
right,
now you have an army.
Yeah.
I'm just
digital
wondering
army.
how specific you can get. Like,
Right.
I only want to talk. You know, like
I
how
only want
specific
left
can you
wing,
get?
right? Can I be only liberal? Can I be only moderate? Can I be only conservative? And how much does that create different facts and realities for everyone living
Because
in
if there
that
was
world?
like, okay, not annoying people who say anything like this, then I would love that. That wouldn't be an echo chamber. That would just be like, great. I can still exist with people that are normal.
Right,
You know what I
right.
mean? And then,
Like-
but if it's like, okay, I only want to hear conspiracy theories, like, I don't know how you're going to figure that out or calculate that.
Interesting. Well, I always thought he's an interesting tech person, but he came, just so you guys know, from an emerald mining empire in South Africa.
Also, I want to say that when people usually come in companies and take them over, they generally get rid of a lot of the
True.
upper management.
Fair.
So I wasn't surprised by
Fair.
that news.
That's true. Let me talk about this. A fair point on what you just said. That's not crazy that people do that, and they all left with what we call golden parachute. So millions of dollars went with these people. They aren't aching for money. Let's just say that. Let us know what you think about Elon Musk. I'm curious to see if he can change. I'm with Lindsay. I find Twitter to be an absolute dumpster fire, and I'd love to see if he changes it or not. But again, it's my choice.
No
to go
offense
on.
to the nice people on Twitter.
We love you, nice people.
Too many bad people.
That's right. All right, guys, it's game over. Is that how you do it? For Tom and
That's
Gisele.
time out.
That's time out. They both released statements confirming they are divorcing. TMZ says Gisele is the one who filed. On Instagram, Tom wrote that after 13 years of marriage, he and Gisele have finalized the details of the divorce. He added that the separation is amicable. Now, in the post, he said that while the decision is painful, they only wish the best for each other and will continue to work together as parents in raising their 2 kids. Gisele also posted saying she and Tom had grown apart, but feels blessed for the time they had together. We also, just so you guys know, Tom Brady has become the most sacked quarterback in the history of football. And we know she was concerned, and she said, about the violence of the sport. What do you guys think about the divorce?
Well, I think, there has probably been some smoke for some time.
Yeah.
However, the way that they're handling this at this juncture, things can change.
Right.
Is really just the way to do it. Sometimes things don't work out.
Right.
And that's okay. I hate to see people martyr themselves for marriage, relationships, or anything.
Yeah.
If you have fallen apart or grown apart in this capacity, just be adults about it and be like, hey, this isn't for us to continue on this journey anymore together.
You agree, yeah?
Well, I went on my rampage about Tom Brady already, and Jeff's not here for me to do it, so it's not fun for me to go on the rampage. But I feel like we all saw this coming, and I think like when everyone decided from the outside looking in that he chose football over his family
Sure.
and his wife, we don't know what really happened, and nobody wants to see, like Erica said, people get divorced. So I hope that they work through this amicably. It looks like they got a good start, but it is just kind of sad if the story is as everyone assumed it was.
Yeah, right. If that's the reason. I heard, and again, all alleged, she did give an ultimatum. It was like, you either pick football or you pick me. And I'm not saying either one is right or wrong, but he, in my opinion, made a choice. But again, he went to Michigan. Go Blue. Love you, Gisele. Coming up on DBL, do you believe in ghosts? We're talking about the number of people who think they've seen some spooky activity in their own house. And Dr. Coley's in the house. She's here in studio, and she's sharing some Halloween safety tips for you and your family. That's coming up next.
I'm easily tickled, y'all. It doesn't take much.
We're gonna sit here and be
Okay,
right.
I know y'all gonna be mad at me, but I'm just telling you the truth.
You can smirk all you want. You don't have to tell me to go.
Brad Pitt. That was
Lindsay is going to jump in with the
Okay.
first question.
Sounds good.
And you have the third question because it's about dry shampoo and you use
Oh.
it. So,
Me? Yeah, I heard about this. I don't know if you guys know, but there's been a lot of banned dry shampoo recently for benzene, and we're going to talk about it and give you more information about it, because it's like, oh, get that off your shelf immediately.
so you're going to ask her to tell you about the recall.
The recall, that's what it's called,
And
recall.
then you're going to have a follow-up. You're going to be like, I use it all the time. Should I stop using it?
Got it.
How does it affect our body?
Because I always worry about inhaling that
Yep.
stuff. Okay, perfect. What do you guys, digging the pink outfit tour. Thank you so much. It's a crop, so it's, you guys know, when you tuck it, you think it's like down to here. It's like right here. It's riding the line. The crop thing I can't do. I have a short torso with a bulbous apple shape.
Crops still. I have a short torso as well.
But you have a good torso.
Yeah, you do too.
I know, but it's not, I don't feel confident. I'd rather go, I don't care. I don't want to do crop.
this place.
Yeah,
I
I'm
get
40.
You.
What am I gonna do with a crop? Hey, Tori.
Okay, all right.
Is anyone using any Halloween apps for trick or treating? I didn't even know there were any.
I'm old.
And the Pelosi story, I do want to give you a heads up on that. Paul Pelosi, who is a controversial figure, Nancy Pelosi's 82-year-old husband, was violently attacked in their house, with a hammer. He is in the hospital currently. They do have the person in custody, but if you hadn't heard that, I want you guys to know, again, controversial figure for the right, a lot of weird deals with trading and things they feel, but he has been attacked. He's in the hospital. He's 82 with a hammer.
Update is that they were looking for.
Well, I have help.
Oh!
No, my mother-in-law.
Keep it splashy, people. I like it. Welcome back. There is a huge spike in respiratory illnesses, and so we are so happy to have our doctor in-house, in studio with us to answer our questions. Thank you for being here.
Okay, so Dr. Coley, the CDC is warning us about RSV, and I was even asking the producer, what is that? So I'm going to ask the doctor, can you break this down?
Yes, so RSV, respiratory syncytial virus, not a new virus, guys. It's been around for decades, but it's causing a surge in infections like we've never seen before. And the reason is because the timing's all wrong. Normally, we see RSV infecting adults, kids, and everybody else in late winter, so January, February. Now in October, we're seeing, hospitals getting overwhelmed with RSV. So essentially what's happened is because of the pandemic, we've sort of put pressure on this virus to change its behavior.
Oh, wow.
And we're now seeing a peak occurring in October, which means come winter, we might see even more of a surge occurring. Now, it's a cold infection. Most of us have had it. For adults, it's not a big deal. It's kind of I say neck up symptoms. You're stuffy. And for kids, it can actually get into their lungs, cause them to end up on ventilators, end up in the hospital, and same for elderly.
Oh, wow. RSV, that's very
So is there a vaccine?
There's not a vaccine yet. So every company that I know, Pfizer, Moderna, GSK, others, they're all working on vaccines. So maybe this time next year, we'll be getting our triple vaccine, flu, COVID, and RSV. But at this time, there's really no vaccine for it. Now, you know, we can do all the same things we do for COVID to protect ourselves, wash our hands, keep our distance, stay away. But if you have a little one at home, and that's why I was asking, especially the pandemic babies, they're really susceptible.
Sure. They haven't been like outside.
I can't add another shot to this list. I can't watch her do it. It makes me cry every time.
Next year, you'll add
this is too much.
Well, let's switch gears here a bit because Monday is Halloween and we want our viewers to be prepared for trick-or-treating. So what are some of the safety tips that you suggest, Dr. Coley?
Yeah, it's funny. When I was a kid and I was trick-or-treating, there was a guy who was handing out $20 bills.
Oh, my God.
So
Where's his address?
Going to his house over and over.
$20 bills?
Dude, I would just hang out there.
And then as the night went on, it went to $1 bills and then to quarters.
Make it rain, sir.
Yes.
Where you grow up?
Here in Denver, actually.
Dang.
So we have to be really careful. You know, Halloween is one of the best holidays for adults and for kids, and it's really a fun time of year, but we have to make sure we keep our kids protected. So the first tip for parents, do not let your kids go alone. Even if they're teenagers, just make sure you accompany them. Make sure that you teach them never to go into a stranger's home, into their garage, into their basement, no matter what they might say to them. Second tip, it's really important to make sure, and especially parts of the country are going to get rain this year on Halloween, that you're wearing nice reflective clothing and your costumes are not getting in your feet, they're not obstructing your vision, you know, you're not setting your child up for a trip or a fall or some kind of an accident, and making sure that, you know, you're keeping them safe in that way. And then finally, the treats are fun, but as soon as you get home, what do? You dump out the treats. And you actually sift through them and you get rid of anything that has an open label or it looks like it's been tampered with. You get rid of anything homemade. Do not let your kids eat anything homemade. And then if you have kids with allergies, really carefully check that list and make sure there's nothing that might be contaminated. You know, and we've talked about rainbow fentanyl and such, so just keep your guard up, parents, this year.
Smart. Very, very smart. That's very helpful to hear. All right, there's a big recall I want to talk to you about because I used, do you see this? That's dry shampoo in there. And there has been a dozen, I'm serious, aerosol dry shampoo products sold in the United States that are getting a recall. I just wanted to, this has got benzene in it, cancer-causing issues. Talk to me about this.
So these particular products had the propellant for the dry shampoo, the thing that makes it kind of squirt out, is what had benzene in it. And we use dry shampoo indoors, not outdoors. Now, spray sunscreen also has benzene in it as well, but generally we put that on when we're outdoors. But we want to be careful because inhaling benzene or being exposed to it chronically can increase our risk of blood cancers like leukemia, also can affect fertility. And I absolutely love dry shampoo, but it is not something, ladies, we should be putting in our hair every single day. I have the kind that just kind of comes out as a powder. It doesn't spray.
Sure. Is that better for like the lungs and the nose?
It is, because you're not propelling those particles. So you're not inhaling as much of it. And even for your hair, actually, if we use dry shampoo regularly, it can actually clog the hair follicles. Some of them have alcohols in it that can cause breakage. So sparingly using dry shampoo to kind of get rid of the sebum and, you know, help our hair smell good is a great idea. But don't spray it all the time. Don't spray it, you know, every single day, just preventively. And make sure you check those ingredients.
Okay, and look up the recall, guys, and maybe spray outside, which would be a helpful idea. That is so helpful. Thank you, Dr. Coley, for providing all this information. If you guys have any questions you want Dr. Coley to answer, you can be part of the show. You can be interactive with us. Write us on social media or just send an email to info@dailyblastlive.com. Thanks again, Doc. We'll be right back. Welcome back. Celebs. People love them. People hate them. People love to hate them, especially the tabloids. So this week, we're talking about a star who hates cancel culture and a star who may get canceled because of this culture. But actually, are they even true? Marlon Wayans wants to cancel culture. So in an interview, he said he doesn't know what planet we're on where people don't need laughter and people need to be censored and canceled. So does he even stand behind his un-PC White Chicks movie? Actually, Marlon said films like this are needed and said, quote, "I'm still gonna tell my jokes the way I tell them." Last year, Marlon even said he's ready to make a sequel to White Chicks. So I don't think Marlon will be getting canceled over a movie that came out 18 years ago.
Perhaps not.
If a sequel were to come out, I do think jokes like this one may not fly anymore.
I think I need a bigger size.
Honey, you never need a bigger size. Come here. Oh, suck it in.
Calling all Swifties. They're listening. Haven't you just been loving her new album, Midnights? Well, not everyone is loving one of her new music videos. So people are calling T Swift out for being fat phobic after this scene in her music video for Anti-Hero. People say she should have known better than to use the word fat, since this could be really triggering for people, especially young fans, which she has a lot of. Actually, the song is about her past struggles, including her fight with an eating disorder. So actually, this video could be more relatable than triggering to her young fans. So I say, shake it, huh? Shake it, huh? We're all Swifties here. That's all for this week. We'll be right back.
The scares are coming to DBL on a special Halloween episode. Tune in Monday to see if the host can top last year's costumes. It's going to be spooktacular.
I'm so excited. Welcome back. Speaking of Halloween, a recent study says that half of Americans believe their house is haunted by a ghost. Y'all, that's a lot.
That's
Y'all, a third said they've actually seen something paranormal on their security cameras. Most say it's the image of a disembodied face. What is happening?
Disembodied.
I know. And first off, I did see recently a paranormal activity where they asked for the spirits to be open and a rock flew in.
No, and Al and I decided that was something off the ceiling of the building that just fell to the ground.
But I'm like, do you all believe it? You believe in ghosts, don't you? Or spirits?
I believe in spirits. Yeah.
Is there
what
a sound?
are we hearing?
Is that a ghost?
I'm like, speaking of which, I think I hear the ghost of Al. No, I do believe that there's life after death, and I do believe that we don't just disappear forever. But no, I've never seen anything with my own two eyes. I've definitely had, like, I've said something, and then like an hour later something happens where I'm like, oh, who was listening?
That was a divine moment. Yeah, I've had those divine moments where I say, Evelyn, my grandmother, I'm thinking of you, and then the next song I turn on is our song or something, and that means something to me. What about you?
I don't know. When I read this story, I was like, I don't see nothing like that on my Ring camera. It's just a regular. I see the delivery guy, the Amazon, and the UPS.
Does this freak you out a little? This
very much. So that's why I don't really acknowledge stories like this, because I don't want them to be in my radar of my life. So if I just don't acknowledge it, it doesn't exist.
Got it. Now, your crystals, are those to protect against that?
Well, not spirits. That's just to bring the vibes that I want. So if I'm feeling like sexy, then I'll put the sexy crystal. If I'm feeling like funny, I'll put the funny crystal. It's just like, because some people like take it very seriously. I just have fun with it. Like, I go to the crystal store, and I actually have a big thing in my house that when anyone comes over, I'm like, take a crystal, whatever resonates with you, and leave with it. So that's just beautiful. Like been our thing. One of my best friends told me about that. She was just like, oh, they're just from different countries. And so every time I travel, I started to pick one up. And so then it just became a thing.
That's beautiful. Do you guys believe in mediums? I listen almost every day to the Long Island Medium.
You love that. You love that show.
I listen so carefully, and I've been to her talk shows live. I've tried to get a reading with Teresa. But my thing is, I do believe some people can enter that space more than others. Am I right?
Absolutely.
Okay, so you believe in that as well?
Yeah, no, for sure. I do take it very seriously.
Okay,
I think there's a lot of power in it, and so you have to be careful about what, like, words have a lot of power.
Yeah.
You have to be careful about what you say and the intention behind it, but oh yeah. I've been told so many. Remember I told you I went to a medium. They told me that I was going to get Daily Blast Live. This was before Daily Blast Live was even conceptualized.
Dang.
They told me it was going to be in June of that year. They told me what my contract was going to be, the terms, like how long it was going to be. So yeah, I mean, there's a lot of things that happen that I'm like, it's more like you can prepare for it if there's the intention behind it.
That's true. I also watched Tyler Henry, friend of the show, and he goes to a restaurant and he goes, I'm just smelling so much smoke. All this fire. Do you have your fire alarms checked?
Oh, I saw that one.
And then the next night, the fire broke out.
Yeah.
The next night?
That's crazy.
Tyler, we'll be right back. No one was hurt. No one was hurt.
That building was.
Breast cancer awareness means knowing the facts about causes, treatment, and prevention. So we're debunking some common breast cancer myths and verifying the truth behind them with the help of these sources. The first thing to clear up, breast cancer is not always indicated by a lump in your breast you can feel. Checking for bumps plus changes in texture, shape, and in the nipple is good practice, but breastcancer.org urges this is no substitute for regular mammograms. And not every lump is cancer either. The National Breast Cancer Foundation points out only a small percentage of breast lumps actually turn out to be cancerous. However, they should not be ignored, and instead a signal to call your doctor. Mammograms do not cause breast cancer, though X-rays do emit a small amount of radiation, and repeated exposure to radiation does have the potential to cause cancer. And a mammogram is an X-ray of the breast. The National Cancer Institute explains the dose is low and, quote, the potential benefits of mammography nearly always outweigh the potential harm. If you do have breast cancer, you don't necessarily have a genetic mutation. Like having family history of the disease, certain genetic changes like BRCA1 and BRCA2 gene mutations can also mean higher likelihood of breast cancer. But not every breast cancer patient has that indicator. The American Cancer Society says 5 to 10% of breast cancer cases are thought to be hereditary and can be passed from either parent.
Alterations in genes are passed down equally by males and females.
Men can get breast cancer too. While a leading risk factor is being born female, thus most screening guidance will be directed at women, people of any sex can develop breast cancer. It is very rare in males, most commonly detected in the nipple area.
So if a man feels a lump in their breast, they should definitely bring it to their healthcare provider's attention.
We have more information on all of these topics and other myths, plus guidance for screening and other resources on our website right now. With your Verify, I'm Abby Larico.
why is candy corn the most divisive of all Halloween candy? Let's connect the dots. Love it or hate it, candy corn is a staple of Halloween. The tri-colored triangles bring strong responses from its fans and even stronger reactions from its critics. Since it has no contrasting flavors, it can end up just tasting intensely sweet. That can cause palate fatigue, like eating spoonfuls of sugar. There's also the matter of bugs in the candy. The lac bug produces a waxy, waterproof coating used in things from paint to food. It's usually called confectioner's glaze, and it gives candy corn that shiny exterior. But if you are on Team Candy Corn, you're not alone. According to USA Today, 9 billion kernels are produced annually. And you can expect to pay more for the candy this year. Clover, a consumer data financial platform, says prices are up at least 5% this year. And that's connecting the dots.
Are you skeptical of headlines and what you see on social media? We are too. The Verify newsletter answers your questions, clarifies what's true and false, and even includes a daily fun fact. Go to verifythis.com/email to check it out.
You know, these are my favorites. It's Halloween weekend. We got some viral videos that demonstrate just how scary the real world can be sometimes. First off, check out this plane in Paraguay. It was struck by lightning. It did destroy the nose and front of the plane. But check out the video from inside. That is even more terrifying. As the plane flew through the storm, the lights flash on and off, the lightning flashing in the window as the whole plane shakes, shudders. Yeah, that's scary. How would you guys do being in this? I've seen it where there's like stuff falling all over in that video. How would you guys do in that flight?
I'm not even going to speak.
Okay, that sounds good. Lindsay, you good with that or no?
No, that scares the crap out of me.
All right.
My mom told me a story about when my sister was little. They were on a plane. My mom used to work for TWA, so they flew all the time. And my sister was like, "Oh my gosh, the wing's on fire!" And she was like, "Don't say that," but it really was. And there was an emergency landing.
She's
and
like,
it was like a small fire, but it still was like a big thing.
That is a big thing. That's
and I was
terrifying.
like, see, I never, no.
No more. This one's even worse for me. It's a second viral video of a diver about to go in for a swim in shark-infested water. She's used to it, but look at this. She puts her face in the water, and she's in for a big surprise.
Oh no.
Here we go. There's a giant tiger shark right there. You can see it right there. It bursts out of the water, mouth wide open. Now, the diver, again, as I said, is reportedly used to swimming with sharks. This particular shark is named Nikki.
No.
And it's one of their faves.
No.
But still, could you get back in the water after that?
No. I went scuba dive or snorkeling, and then I realized I had gotten really far out because everything started getting bigger in the water, like the animals. It went from like little minnows. Minions to like bigger things, and I was like, oh no,
Get me back. Everybody swim back to the shore. Be careful this weekend, but remember, tune in Monday. We have a great Halloween show for you guys. Stay safe, and we will see you same time, same place on Monday. Bye, y'all. Happy Halloween.
Minions.
The minions under the water.